So the Pittsburgh Steelers just got a triple dose of good news today, and let's talk about TJ Watt and the status of this contract, right? I think it goes without saying that TJ Watt is easily the most important player on this defense. He's coming into the final year of his contract. It's time to extend this guy. And so far, negotiations haven't really gone anywhere, and it's just whether it's an extension or trade, this has got to get done so the Pittsburgh Steelers can move on to the next thing. I talked about the foolishness of waiting a long time in relation to the Cincinnati Bengals negotiating with Trey Hendrickson. Check out my video yesterday on that. But there's actually some good news on the contract today, and a lot of it comes from Mike Tomlin, and it's been reported here by Ian Rappaport. It's also by Mike Garofalo from the NFL Network. But all things considered, everyone believes that's involved. What they're sharing is that the deal is not contentious so far. And due to it not being up immediately, it's not a cause for concern for training camp. There's still plenty of time here. The sides are not at odds. He did not attend mandatory minicamp, as a participant. But that's to be expected anyways. The guy has an aversion injury. We don't want to get him injured. So this is kind of a little more on this. And this is going to be from Mike Garofalo. And this is exactly what he had to say to elaborate on this. I don't feel that this one is contentious. If a player misses mandatory minicamp over the next couple days, you don't have to fine a player. We'll see what the Steelers wind up doing on this one. That's a really important point. The team has to choose to fine. They're not obligated to fine him. I know that they feel really good about the talks and that they've had and the offers that they've made. And furthermore, Ian Rappaport has this to say, a quote from Mike Tomlin on the TJ Watt situation now that minicamp has ended. I'm optimistic we're going to get things done because we got two sides that want to get things done. When that's going to occur, I don't know, but he is fully confident that this deal is going to be getting done. And if it's good enough for Mike Tomlin, his assessment of the situation, I think we have no reason not to believe him. I don't think there's a lot of stressing about that part. Mike Tomlin went further to say that everything's going to be just fine working away from the facility for TJ Watt. They're not stressing about this part of it one bit. And if there was a pressure point right now at the start of training camp, that feels like it's a pressure point. I feel like this thing would get done. It will get done at some point. And we're kind of at a turning point, right? You guys as Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it would be in your best interest to get this done quickly because we've got Hutch coming up with his contract. We've got Micah Parsons coming up with his contract. Trey Hendrickson with his. I mean, it is so important not to be the last man standing when the musical chairs is all over as far as getting these contract extensions signed. So let's hope that it's done quickly. Let's kind of shift to a different topic here. I promised you a triple dose, and I think it's pretty clear that the Pittsburgh Steelers have a winner from mandatory minicamp, and surprisingly, it's third-year tight end Darnell Washington. And Aaron Rodgers, he saw Washington, and when he saw him, he immediately compared him to an old teammate of his. That's Mercedes Lewis. This is straight from him. I told Darnell Washington today that I haven't had a tight end like him since Mercedes. And Mercedes, all-time great, right? Darnell is like a young Mercedes, able to do things in the passing game and dominate the line of scrimmage. And Washington did his part. He absolutely shined throughout this week. A lot of highlight, multiple big plays in the passing game. Is this a year that things finally come together for him? Is he ready to be a major factor? And I know there was a lot of talk from this tight end room when there were rumors that Jonnu Smith was coming into town, even talking about Pitts from Atlanta possibly being a trade target. Word is from Darnell Washington and the tight end room that they're good. We don't need anyone else. And his performance just recently in mandatory minicamp, it really backs it up. The guy really balled out. So we're looking at who was throwing the passes. That was Will Howard. They connected on a 20-yard touchdown pass during the team's final 2-minute drill this week. Washington, he actually described the play. He said the safety showed a too-high shell that left the middle of the field wide open on a seam route. And the guy is just a massive human. He is a huge target. But I like it. I like where he's coming from as far as his humility as well. He actually gave Will Howard all the credit. Will put that ball in the perfect spot. It felt good to get that one in there. And Washington thinks that he's ready. He's ready to break out in his third year with the team, and he's actually in great shape. He's down 15 pounds, and he really sees it showing up on the field as well as far as coming in and out of his routes. And is it routes or routes? I say routes. We'll see. But kind of moving forward on this, let's hear more from Darnell. I say I'm for sure just in the aspect of how to run this route during this coverage. First year, I was still like learning NFL defenses, what they're giving us. If I've got this route, this coverage, run it like this. So a good start this week. It was a perfect time for Washington to prove that he can impact the passing game. Rodgers kind of picks several targets on the team and he hyper targets them. And it's so important to get his trust early in the process because that is a huge thing with the new quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's 2. Let's get to the third to make this a triple dose. Let's talk about an offensive lineman. Let's talk about Broderick Jones and how he's looking to break out this season. And it's the Georgia offensive tackle. He was selected with the 14th overall pick in the first round of the 2023 NFL draft. But his first 2 seasons, a little lackluster, right? He hasn't really panned out to compensate for his draft capital that was spent on him. But the team is hoping, I think you guys were hoping, and Alex Cazzaro of Steelers Depot, he recently he placed 2 photos of Jones side by side. One of them was one from last offseason, and one of them was just taking. And the difference between the 2 pictures, it's absolutely apparent to everybody looking at it. So kind of the proof is in the numbers, right? He was weighed in at 325 pounds this past season, and that's much different from his reported weight of around 305 pounds right now. Now, that's actually a good thing. We need the offensive lineman on your offense to be agile. This is really going to help him a ton when it comes to contributing in this scheme that's being run by Arthur Smith, because Pittsburgh runs more of a wide zone offense. So what does that mean? That means their offensive linemen, they need to be able to move laterally. They need to be able to move. They need to be able to be agile. And now that Jones has lost some weight, he definitely should be lighter on his feet, and that might make all the difference here. So 3 seasons in Georgia, 2 of those seasons he was able to help the team win a national championship. Absolutely, it's known that he can get the job done in the right environment and also being in good shape. And you're looking at the Steelers, great environment for him to thrive in. Playoffs 4 of the last 5 seasons, and really, Jones is absolutely needed to break out in this 3rd season of his, help lead the team to the 3rd straight postseason appearance, and now that Aaron Rodgers is in tow, perhaps make some noise in the playoffs as well. I know there's a lot of opinions on that. For one, I think that even though I dislike Aaron Rodgers as a person and frankly as a player, as primarily a Bears guy, I have a Bears channel. Justin Fields brought me to this Pittsburgh Steelers team, and before I knew it, I was doing a YouTube channel for you guys. So I think Aaron Rodgers definitely improves your chances of making some noise in the playoffs. There's no way that he's not an improvement. And also the money was right. I really don't think the plan was, when DK Metcalf was signed, to have Mason Rudolph or Will Howard throwing the ball. Aaron Rodgers was the plan all along. And now that he's in tow, we got to get past what we think about him personally and who he is as a player on the field. And he moves the needle. Let's see what he's got this season. So Jones definitely needs to have a 3rd-year breakout for this offensive line to really gel. It looks like, all things considered, that he's doing the necessary work, and you got to love it. You guys, I'll continue to be here on a daily basis giving you an impartial view on your Pittsburgh Steelers, and I really appreciate your support. We'll talk soon.